Tomorrow night got to give LSU a lot of credit. I mean, it's kind of what league races are. They have found a way to make a lot of really good basketball plays in the last minutes of games. There's won 3 out of 4 really on last possession. And, you probably picked an early MVP. Skylar Mays would be it. Plays that he makes, not just the shot he made against State, but all the other plays that he makes to impact winning. And then we've had 2 games, obviously, you guys know that we've had double-digit leads in the second half and didn't hold on. So that's life in the league, and but a big test for us on Saturday. We've come back from Florida and trying to get Brian healthy, and so he was limited yesterday in practice, and we'll see how he goes today. And I think for sure he's going to try to play, and but he still is having some discomfort in that kind of lower back in his lower back area.
What's the status of Hadim?
It's a coach's decision, obviously, that I left him based on his actions with our team. I think a big part in all the young people, your kids and mine, is how they respond. And so we met on Wednesday. He was very, very good. Yesterday we went twice, and obviously anticipate the same thing today and tomorrow, and that he'll sure be available and play against LSU.
When you say actions, Kermit, you're talking something off the floor, off the court.
No. It was just kind of body language, really real simple, kind of body language during the Arkansas game and kind of how he handled it. Nothing really big, but obviously, standards, everybody, high culture of what we're trying to get to, and he didn't really meet those, and so it was absolutely nothing off the floor. It was just simple as that, and he's handled it really well, and anticipate him playing tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts with this team right now, Kermit. What are practices like? Do you feel like people are responding in practice?
Oh yeah. We've never had a problem with that. We're simple as that. Obviously it's hard with Brian not playing. You take him off of any team, it'd be like taking Nebhart and Blackshear off of Florida's team and play, if that happened to them. And I thought our team kind of, with a lot of moving parts, like you said, kind of held its own for about 17 minutes, and then we turned it over. Practices have been fine. We're in a position to where some of the younger guys that we thought, and I still think are going to be good players, just hadn't made a very big impact in any Power 5 games, maybe little bitty spots. And, Austin Crowley has to be more physical. He had great opportunities against Florida, and his physicality got him finishing any balls around the rim. Sammy Hunter, obviously a talent when I rebound the ball. He's averaging a rebound every 11 minutes a game. Franco Miller has had some spots. Bryce has been hurt. I think he'll be available to play more minutes. So those guys really hadn't impacted the high-level games like we thought. Devontae's got to play better against Power 5 schools. And, he's had some good spots, but, his turnovers 1-to-1 in the SEC. He hadn't shot it very well, from a shooting percentage. So it's just pretty simple. It really is pretty simple with that. But as far as those guys' work habits and attitudes, except for Hadim's little spell right there, it's been good. We're just not playing well enough.
You had an opportunity to get a look at Carlos for extended minutes. You mentioned Franco, and then Blake impacted the game outside of just shooting 3. Did you learn something in a loss at Florida without those 2 guys to see what these guys could do? You want to see more improvement out of
they sure got a chance, and then right now, I'm going to play Carlos ahead of Sammy just based on he at least got 2 or 3 rebounds. There's more activity. Carlos played too many minutes. He got tired, and I thought that KJ and Blake, competed really hard. Sometimes not smart all the time, but they competed hard. And but we got to look as good. It's the first time Bryce has done really anything full speed in probably a couple of weeks. And but his practice has been good since we've been back. And hopefully those guys got a little experience that'll help them down the road.
Blake was talking a little bit about the need to finish off halves and finish off games. Is it fatigue at the end of halves that's going to be all? Or is there
No. You think about the Arkansas game, we played well. We kind of, we're up 8, 10, 6, 10, 11, 8, 6, and I've been doing it for 38 years, and I've never been in a game where you're up 8 with the ball and in 35 seconds it's tied, on 2 trips. And, we missed a shot, 3, they make a 3, we come back, have a driving probably not a very wise choice by Austin, but he missed. 5-point play. I mean, in one half, they have a 4-point play and a 5-point play. You know, so it was just, we work, and all of a sudden, in 35 seconds, it's tied, dead even. And so, you know, they made some plays down the stretch. You know, I do think we need to get, you know, some guys, like the Arkansas guys, they look like they can play 37, 38 minutes in a game. You know, those guys, their toughness at the end. Right now, some of our guys, you know, like Devontae, we need to get his minutes down. So I sure hope Bryce can do that. You know, can get his minutes down, and maybe Devontae get to 28, 29 minutes a game and be more effective.
How is Sean Robinson's redshirt year going? What are you seeing?
He's doing good. He's doing good. I mean, he weighs 216 pounds, so that part is better. You know, he's one guy, as you guys can see, you know, some of our bigs are having trouble hanging on the ball, you know, and one thing he can do, he can run, he can catch. You know, we're just trying to get him to learn how to play better, you know, learn how to guard better. But I think the redshirt year has been really good for him, you know, and we could put him out there and he could play in these games, you know, and because I think he is an instinctive shot blocker and rebounder. But I think the redshirt year is going to be good for him.
How has kind of the mood in the locker room been with the losing streak? I don't know if Blake seemed down, but it seemed like he was kind of, they need that win coming up.
I think everybody does in college basketball. You know, like I said, it's a fine line from it. You know, it had been down. Our practices have been good. Our mood in the gym, when I walk in the gym, those guys are upbeat and laughing and play. You know, not because they got beat, but just they're back at it again. And so not at all. I mean, it's 18 games into it. I mean, South Carolina had a big win over Kentucky, and teams, you just got to find ways to try to win games. And like I said, it's a very fine line. LSU could be sitting here at 1-3, and we're sitting here at 2-1, playing for the league tomorrow night. Easy, you know. So it's a fine line from it, and we're gonna every time we play, it's kind of a 3-day season. You know, it's what you do. Like you're off on Wednesday and it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know, then it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So it's, you know, all these are little 3-day pockets of preparation, and our guys have been fine. We still got to look at, you know, obviously we're playing only 4 guys on our team that played last year, 4 guys. And when you're trying to build something, I know we got off to this start last year, you know, and it was a really good start. But you start looking at just programs that are trying to gain consistency. The biggest thing is trying to gain consistency in your roster and the depth in your roster. And as you go along, I don't call them mistakes, but maybe guys aren't where you thought they would be right now. And sometimes it takes, you know, like I didn't realize it, but I think Mark Dukes tweeted the other day about Bruce at Auburn. And I played his teams when he was rebuilding at Middle. You know, and it took him like 4 years, or just, I was looking at the guy, Seton Hall, I think his 5th or 6th year, he went to the tournament. And just, you know, now he's got a roster built, you know. So it's just going to take a while. You can't be perfect in every recruiting decision. You'd like to be. And it doesn't make them bad players, but just our roster's depth, you see it, you know, you see it. How many guys can really impact LSU and at Tennessee and in those kind of games. So, you know, we're going to keep developing, and we're recruiting like crazy every single day, you know, for next year and the year after.
I think I saw somebody posted, a national writer, about just how experience and age now for rosters is so important in college basketball. You kind of feel that way too. I mean, you got a young group with growing together by the time the juniors and seniors is a different type of team.
I sure hope so, Ben. You know, I mean, we got one senior in our team, you know, Brian, and that's it. I don't know how many teams in college basketball, you know, I guess some Power Fives do, you know, and so that's not a lot of experience. And we've got 4 guys who played at Ole Miss on our team right now from last year. And, you know, so that's no excuse making at all. I mean, we're disappointed that, you know, we're where we're at. But, you know, it is growth, and we just got to stay upbeat and keep trying to get these guys better, and we're going to do it every single day. And, you know, eventually we're going to get to where we want to get to.